All right, so we just did a little section on graphic symbols, and we ended up with these trees out here. Remember, these are graphic symbols. If you look in my library, you can see the original tree, and these are the instances of it out here. Now, I'm going to move forward a little bit, and we're going to make a movie clip in this movie symbol. But first, let me do a little work with a layer here. So layer 1 is just called layer 1 at the moment. I'm going to double click its name. I'm down here in the lower left if you need to look. And I'm just going to call it trees. Now, I also think I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the sky blue behind these trees. So remember, that's basically just going to be a property of the stage. So I've got the stage as my focus. I'm on properties, and let me just find, it's a little intense. Let's take that down a notch. Okay, so there's my sky color. Now, down here at the bottom, I pretty clearly have these trees just floating in air. So what if I make a new layer? I'm going to call it ground. And on that layer, I think what I'm going to do is just grab the rectangle tool. I'll fill it with sort of a brownish color here. And I'm just going to make a rectangle that lines up pretty well with where the trees are. Right now, remember, this rectangle is not drawn literally on top of those trees. It's on a separate layer. Now, if the layer seems like a bit of a problem, like it isn't positioned quite right or whatever, it's kind of weird, remember that dragging layers around can change them from front to back, for example. So these trees can be right on top of this if we want them to be. The only problem with that is that it becomes a little hard to see the trunk. So let me position them right at the border. All right. So now we've got these trees growing out of the ground, and we've got trees and ground here. Now, well, for my movie clip for this, I've decided to add a bunny. Now, I've got a graphic symbol of a bunny rabbit. All right, so here it is. Let me take you in there and introduce you. So this is my graphic symbol of the rabbit. Now it's bigger here than it really is. This is blown up to about 400% in terms of size, so the real rabbit is much smaller. I'm just going to do one little thing now that I've got a blue background color. I'm going to go ahead and fill him with the color white to make him kind of a snow bunny kind of guy. And his eye is actually just empty space here. So if I want anything different to be happening, I'm going to have to grab my oval tool and maybe pick a color, say a deep, darker color, and we'll just give him that little eye there. Okay, so there's my bunny. Now, his actual size is this. Here's 100%. He's a little guy, all right? Now, this is a graphic symbol, so it doesn't really have the option to contain animation. And what I'm going to do is make a simple little animation where he basically moves across the stage from one side to the other, all right? So I'm going to use him in the movie clip, but he is not the movie clip himself. All right, here we go. Insert, new symbol. I'm calling it hopping. And here's where I make sure that I'm picking the right kind. This is a movie clip. Okay. Now, if I look in the library, here's my bunny graphic symbol that I just edited. I'm going to put him right over here. I'm going to put him on about the same line as the registration point. Now, this is going to be a little silly looking, but I'm going to have him classic tween to get across the stage, and then I'm going to add some hops to it. All right, so let's say he's not going very fast. All right, I've got about 100 frames here on the timeline. What if I make it about 100 frames to get him across? That's pretty slow. So at frame 100, F6, drag the bunny to the other side, click in the middle, insert classic tween. Now this should be familiar, right? And that is not very exciting. There's the bunny just looking like he's being like pulled across on a leash or something. Now, here's the little thing you might want to remember. If you want some changes of position, up and down, say, during this classic tween, all you have to do is click at the spot where you want that to be in the middle of the tween here, in whatever part of the tween you want that change to be at, and try dragging him. Now I'm going to drag him up a little bit. Now, do you see what happened? It added a keyframe to the timeline right there. Now, let me get back to the beginning and show you this tiny change. It's not much yet, right? So now he's going across on a slightly higher level. It looks like he's taken off like a little jet plane and he's flying away. So I'm going to have to keep bringing him up and down as I go across. So a few frames. Drag him down. A few frames. Drag him up. A few frames. Drag him down. A few frames. Drag him up. Few frames, drag him down. This is exciting to watch, isn't it? But you get the idea. Basically, I'm just causing him to hop. Let's go back to the beginning and see what's happening. Right? Now he's got this long, slow glide at the end, so let me finish up. Let's see. He was just down, now he's up, so let's make him go down again. Boop. 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 I don't know why I'm saying boop. And up again. And down again. And up again. Now, I think this is a little flawed. Let's see. Looks like he gets to a point where he starts going backwards. So let's make sure that he ends up in a forward position here. Okay, I think that's working out okay. Bump, 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 bump. All right, well, it's a little weird. Let me move him a little further this way so he ends up moving forward. All right, I did a kind of a poor job, but there it is. It's a movie clip. Now, the way this works is we're going to come out here. Now that we've got our movie clip, we're going to add a new layer. I'm going to call it Hopping 1. And I'm going to take my little hopping graphic and put it over here. I'm actually putting it slightly off stage, which means it won't be visible in the original position. And it'll actually move all the way across and probably disappear off the other side. So let's try it. Control Enter. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bink, 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 bink. Now, remember how this works? It loops automatically. So I've got my little bunny hopping across the front there, right? Now, suppose I want another bunny. Let's say I want this one behind the trees. So look. Hopping 1 is in front of the trees. Can you see why? Here's hopping 1, here's trees, it's behind it. Now if I add another layer, so let's go, new layer, I'm going to call it Hopping 2. Okay. Alright, and I'm going to drag Hopping 2 down below trees, and I'm going to take another instance of my hopping bunny, and I'm going to put him over here to the left. Now, understandably, this seems a little weird because we know he's going left. right? So he's just going to disappear. I mean, in fact, he'll never appear at all in the current way I have it. But I can do this. I can flip him over. Now there's a couple ways to do it, but watch. Modify, transform, flip horizontal. Now watch what happens. He's facing the other way. Now, this is what we have right now. You see how he's behind the trees, right? First rabbit is in front, second rabbit is behind. Okay. Now it might be a good idea to make him a little smaller so that the illusion of distance is created here. So I'm going to shrink him down a little bit just using the transform. Right? So he's a bit smaller. Here we go now. Right? And it creates at least a little bit of the sensation that the one in the front is closer to us, the one in the back is further away from us. Okay. So that's a little overview of Movieclips. We'll be moving on from there, so take a look at the library before we go. Here's a graphic symbol, here's a movie symbol, and they're very different things. All right.